Retro lunch break.
Yes,
Retro lunch break with Nick and Rick.
Hello and welcome to Retro Lunch Break, the podcast. This is Wingin, episode 2, where we just make things up off the top of our heads. Anything we want to talk about is free game for all. And today's episode, I have my co-host with me, Nick. Say hi, Nick.
Hey, how's it going?
And joining us today is our additional co-host, is Eddie. Say hi, Eddie.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Yes, thank you so much for being here.
Welcome back, Eddie. We're so glad to have you.
Yeah, that's great that you brought back the NPR voice.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to be excited to have my boys back with me because now it feels like a total group, and this is going to be a fun podcast. So, as I've said before, this is Winging It. So, anything we want to talk about off the top of our heads, does anybody have a topic?
Absolutely. I didn't hear you guys talk about some of the latest games that I've been playing.
Well, we would. I don't see how we would talk about those games if you're playing them, but go right ahead. Now, let's first off name a platform. Off what platform?
I'm actually playing this one on both PC and the Xbox.
Wait, what?
Ooh.
Yeah, it's
At the
interesting,
same
right?
time?
Is that
Not
possible?
at the same time.
How do you do that?
Share
because
files,
of
saves.
Microsoft. Microsoft's just awesome like that.
Is it like
That's really what it is.
it's
It's not
a
just Microsoft.
it's a saved share file, right? Like you could play
Cloud.
off of a Vita and you can play on your PS4.
Yeah.
Right? Like cloud saving,
Kind of like
right?
cloud saving,
yeah, okay.
But this particular game actually isn't shared because it's not a cross-platform title.
Oh,
I
what
guess
is it?
it's Outer Worlds.
So you're playing two
Yeah.
different games of Outer
Absolutely.
Worlds at the same time.
And let me tell you why. Okay, sometimes because my Xbox is upstairs,
Mhm.
in my room with
Yeah.
my wife. Sometimes she wants to, sleep and not get bothered by the light from the TV.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
I go down to the PC
Nice.
and play the game there.
Can I say really quick?
Sure.
It's the total opposite for me. My wife loves to have the TV on, and I'm like, oh, I want to go to bed. I just want the TV on.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm a TV on guy.
TV on, really?
Nice,
Okay.
nice.
Sleep mode, it goes off eventually.
Yeah. Okay.
I know
please,
it's bad for you, but
please go ahead. Continue. So the game is The Outer Worlds, or is it Outer Worlds?
Outer
I think it's just Outer Worlds.
Outer
without
Worlds.
Yeah.
Because I've seen commercials for it, and if I'm not mistaken, Bryan Cranston does the voice of the Moonhead guy.
Does he? Because
It sounds like him, and I'm pretty good at
I've not
identifying.
seen any commercials of this.
I've seen the commercials for it. It's
Yeah.
like a game where you can pretty much be anything that you want to be within this like sandbox world. It almost seems like Borderlands without rules,
I want to be a squirrel.
and I think you can be if you want to.
Awesome.
If you want to. Now, I've only had limited exposure to Borderlands, and that's a topic for another day. We are talking about Outer Worlds. So, Eddie, where would you like to start?
Real quick, before you jump
Oh,
in, can
okay.
I ask
Oh,
you
okay.
one question
Sure.
about this?
Sure.
Do you ever get confused based on which game you're playing, what you're supposed to be doing? Like you'll jump into a game and you'll start like, oh, I wanted to do this yesterday, and then you go and then you're like, no, that was on the Xbox upstairs.
No.
Okay.
Because on the PC, I'm actually going through the story.
Okay.
I'm actually trying to be a good guy. I'm trying to beat all the missions, do all the quests. And on the Xbox, I'm just killing everything.
Nice.
So I don't get confused. I haven't played too much Borderlands, so I
Really?
can't
Oh.
really, relate too much, with that game.
Oh.
But it's completely different to me. It feels more like I don't know if
You
you've
all
ever
should play
played
some
Fallout New
Borderlands.
Vegas.
Oh,
You guys
it's
ever played Fallout New Vegas?
Yeah,
Because it's
that's
the same developer.
No, I know the story of it. I never got to play anything below Fallout 4. But I know the gameplay. I know the story behind Fallout Vegas.
New Vegas.
New Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah, New Vegas should have been everything I loved in a Fallout game, and it just didn't work for me.
Really?
Because
Okay.
it had a lot of the elements of Fallout 1 and 2 for like the leveling and the perks, and it took place in like the whole California, Nevada area, and I don't know, there was just something about the game that when I started playing it never quite clicked for me. So
I actually enjoyed that one.
Oh.
I did play it, and it's
Maybe I
funny because I
just-
beat it and then I played it again.
I was
As
gonna
a
say
bad
maybe
guy.
I played
killing
too
everybody.
much 3 right before that, so it wasn't different enough.
I did the same thing.
Because
I also played 3,
so much 3.
and I enjoyed 3 a lot better than New Vegas. You're right.
Yeah.
But I still enjoyed New Vegas
Okay.
enough to just keep, playing it. So Outer Worlds is just same developer. It does have like this Fallout feel, but it's all in outer. I guess it's in other worlds in space in the universe,
Okay.
right? The story. I guess this is basic stuff, right? The stories, some.
Well, you probably won't give me
Ships.
spoilers, right? I mean,
No, it's
Have
all.
you-
I don't know. It's just the basic story is just some colonies we got into a ship, we went into space, and we started colonizing some planets.
Okay.
And you start off by somebody waking you up because you were in another ship that was also going to the colonies.
Mm-hmm.
And the ship, something happened and it just got stuck, and you've been out there for years. And the scientist finally wakes you up, and that's who you are. You're this person who just woke up from the ship, and this scientist wants you to help them because there's this crazy things just happening in the world. Basically, just corporations taking over.
Oh, that's cool.
Well, that sounds interesting. Yeah.
I know they're putting it out on the Switch either sometime next year. I'll probably just wait for that because I'll play anything on the Switch.
Okay.
Anything.
Then I'm curious. What about the gameplay do you like? I mean, what about this game is making you play it on 2 different platforms? What do you enjoy the most?
So it feels like Fallout. To me, right, it's kind of like playing like a Fallout game, and I love Fallout games, right? So it's a first-person shooter. You're running around, and they have this feature where you can slow down time, which is kind of similar to what Fallout 4 was doing.
You mean the VAT system,
Yeah,
or
the
is it bullet time? Because
it's kind of like bullet time.
2 different things.
Yeah, because VATS is completely different than bullet time.
Yeah,
because VATS you get to target.
Yeah, that target based on percentages.
Right, which is, if I'm not mistaken, that was their,
1 and 2.
I want to say, not Bethesda. No, it was New Interactive, right?
Yeah. For Fallout 1 and 2, that was the combat system.
Right, which is it was their take on turn-based, right? And when it was transitioned to a first-person shooter, they incorporated that kind of turn-based. I'm doing air quotes right now up in the air. They interpreted that kind of turn-based combat system with the VATS, where you could pause, stop time, and take time to select what you wanted to do.
And you had a certain amount of points for your movement.
Exactly. And in Fallout 4, they actually just slowed down time. It no longer paused.
Oh, really?
For Fallout 4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's kind of like
right.
the same,
I kind of remember that. Guys would still, even when you went into VATS, guys would still move
they
towards
still move
you,
towards you, exactly.
which I didn't. Yeah.
So this is similar in Outer Worlds. It's just slowing down time, but you don't. You still get to aim and kind of like pick parts. Like if you shoot them in the face, they get blinded.
What was that game that John Woo did? Something Sunrise, Tequila Sunrise, or something like that.
Video game?
There was a video game, and it had tequila time in it. I can't remember the name of the game. I wish I could remember the name, but basically that was the first game to use that slowed down bullet time, or maybe like Max Payne, where that slowed down bullet time where things would come at you, but you could still shoot and interact, but everything was going like slow so you can think it through.
Oh, okay.
Kind of like how Super Hot works. Back to the Super Hot.
Super Hot, yeah.
We love Super Hot.
Now, if I may ask, in Fallout, the way they explained that VAT system was through the inclusion of the Pip-Boy. You got the Pip-Boy in your arm, and it did things to you that was allowing you to do that. Do they have some sort of explanation on how you can do this bullet time in Outer Worlds?
Yeah, basically because we've been frozen for so long, these are the effects of us coming out of this frozen state.
Oh, is that their explanation? So, like, you did some sort of like sleeping evolution sort of thing, or I'm just trying to wrap my head around it.
Cryogenic
evolution, or
I don't know.
Yeah, but I know when he wakes us up, he's
damage?
saying, if we want to get everybody out, woken up in the ship, they have to use like these special chemicals, and that's pretty much the whole game. Is you going out searching for these chemicals?
Oh,
so you're a drug dealer in space. Nice.
Yeah. So something happened to you.
Why
while
Bryan Cranston's in the game? Drug dealer in space.
Oh, that makes sense now.
I think as they show him in the commercial, he's like some sort of dealer. Because in the commercial,
drug dealer, right?
No, he just says somebody comes up to his shop and he says, "Oh, what would you like? Guns,
drugs?
Arms, soap." Okay, I feel like there's some sort of joke there. I just don't understand. All right then.
I think he just wants to keep saying drugs.
Okay. All right. So then, anything else you want to say about Outer Worlds?
No, that's the basics. I love it.
You're really enjoying it.
I haven't finished it. I'm still working up to it. I think I'm pretty close though.
Question for you. You got it originally with Game Pass, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Would this game, from looking at it, would you have bought it beforehand if you didn't have Game Pass? Or was this one of those, like, happily stumbled across it because I have Game Pass?
No, I would have bought this.
Okay.
I would have bought this. But I will say that I didn't really know about this game. I think they kept it under wraps for such a long time. It was just kind of like a surprise. Oh, this just came out, Because I was more interested in trying to get into Fallout 76, maybe, because they've been improving it
by making you pay $100 a year.
Yeah, then I was like, no, okay, I'm good.
Instead of giving you more content, we want to take your money.
Yeah. So instead of giving that a chance, I heard about Outer Worlds, and it happens to be on Game Pass. So I just started.
Wait, does your Game Pass also apply to your PC now?
Yes.
Okay.
They have the beta version.
Yeah, I know they have the beta. I just wondered if it was the same one or a different subscription service.
No, it's the same
That's
one.
really nice.
Yeah,
It's the same one.
Mm-hmm. And I was pretty lucky actually because I had paid $60 for 1 year of gold like a couple of months ago. I remember. I think maybe like in March.
Yeah.
And at some point they got this offer of paying $1 to upgrade to Game Pass
For the rest of your...
Yeah. I thought it was going to be for like a month or two.
Yeah.
But it had actually extended it till my gold expires.
Once again, drugs. Now they have you. They're hooks in you. The first sample is free. Now you're going to pay through the nose to keep your Game Pass.
Yeah, and I'm going to keep paying. I think I'm going to keep.
What is it
I'm
annually?
enjoying
Do you
so
know
much.
what it is?
Not. I think it's like $15 a month. So
Okay,
how much is that?
$15.
Times 12. Whatever that is. I'm
It's
terrible with math.
$180 a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
the price
what I'm
of 3
willing to pay.
games. Price of 3 AAA title games. So if you're planning on buying 3 or there's 3 games on here you play, it's paid for itself, I guess.
No. I'm just enjoying it. I love it so much.
I did see when we had that thing and you that event and you brought in your Xbox with all those games you had downloaded. The amount of games that are on Game Pass are insane, from old Xbox One games all the way up to new stuff. It's pretty cool. It is a pretty cool idea.
Oh, Game Pass. That's the rental
No,
system,
it's
right?
not rental. It's you pay a monthly. It's like Netflix. It's Netflix for video games, pretty much, through Xbox. And $15 a month, you get any games you want to download and play until you're done.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty nice.
It is.
So that means that you don't have to buy any title. You just play.
And they've been throwing some pretty heavy hitters up there. I mean, Outer Worlds was a big one for them. They put Gears of War 5 on their day one release.
How can that be?
They took the hit in the foot.
First party,
Their first
right?
party,
Their
they're
first-party
in-house
Microsoft.
developers. So
Yeah,
Microsoft
that
took
was-
the hit on sales for Gears
Yeah,
of War 5,
uh-huh.
knowing that so many people would get Game Pass for this or already had Game Pass. And I remember them reporting Gears of War 5 being like the most played Gears of War game to date by
Oh,
numbers,
okay.
because they could do it by, number of downloads versus number of sales.
Wow.
So they got everyone playing Gears of War 5, but they didn't make a huge profit. But what they did was they really sold you on the idea of Game Pass.
That sounds like a steal. I mean, to get a game like that day one, where you don't have to pay $59.99 for a brand new title.
The cool thing too is it's not like, oh, it came out Tuesday, start downloading it. You can pre-download these games. They give you like a week in advance to preload these games. So at midnight, it unlocks and you can go.
Wow, that sounds great. Wow,
It's-
this is an Xbox, Microsoft only type of thing?
Yes.
The PlayStation doesn't have that?
PlayStation has a version of it too, right?
Yeah, but I don't know how good it is, or if it's even still active or successful.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was confusing that with GameFly. GameFly is the rental
GameFly.
thing. Yeah, okay, sorry.
Gamefly.
Yeah, it just came to me.
Is that
Yeah.
still around?
Yeah, there's
Yes,
those
it's
really
still
bad
around.
commercials. Like they're like set in the Wild West, and then one guy comes in on a horse. He's like, "Oh, Billy stood no chance against Clyde. He had played over 3,000 games on GameFly," and they're like playing video. It's the weirdest commercial, though.
That was pretty much word for word for the commercials. Great
Yeah.
job there, Nick. Great job. Okay. Anything else you've played recently too? Or is it just Outer Worlds that you want to talk about right now?
No, I mean I've played other games. I'm playing the new Call of Duty Modern Warfare with my brother.
Oh yes,
Cross-platform.
yeah, the one
That's
you
cool.
showed me on the
So,
phone, right?
Yeah.
Finally.
No, not
No?
on the phone. This
No.
is just on consoles and
Oh
PCs.
yes, I remember you
What is
showing me
he
this one.
playing
Yeah.
on?
PlayStation.
Yeah, I was
And I'm
gonna
on the
s-
Xbox.
so I'm glad that you brought that up, because finally Sony took their head out of the sand and they were like, "Hey, this crossplay thing, this is real. We're going to jump on board. We're no longer going to be like, no one can play with PlayStation people. Your friend should have a PlayStation." Yeah, Sony was a big against cross-platform forever, and they recently finally opened it up because Microsoft and Nintendo had done so well together. And Microsoft, being Xbox, PC, and Nintendo for a lot of games can crossplay. And it really helps games, and it really helps indie developers want to put their games on yours, because now they don't have to worry about getting a market share, because if they get enough market share of everyone can play together, their servers stay full. So it's helpful. But Sony was always really against. They would not play. They wouldn't come. People, approach Sony. Companies would approach Sony about, "Hey, we want to do cross-platform," like Rocket League did at one point. And Sony's like, "Nah, we're good. We got enough people playing Rocket League on PlayStation 4." But eventually they came around. So
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's
now
good
you can
news.
play Minecraft with everyone in
Yeah.
the world.
Yeah.
Wow.
Other games, and a lot of the free-to-play online games that come with the consoles now. You can now play with people from other consoles. It's pretty cool.
It does have its its bugs,
Yeah.
but it's good. It's good to have it because that's how I get to play with my brother and his friends are all on the PlayStation. But every once in a while, for some odd reason, I start having issues connecting with them.
Oh,
Like they'll
that's
stay
weird.
together in
Yeah.
the lobby, but I would be the one that gets kicked out every
I
single
wonder
time.
if it's that game only, or if it's all games. Let me know when you play other games with them. Now that
Okay.
you can.
Yeah, hopefully, I'm kind of hoping other games in the future
Wow,
they keep
okay.
doing this,
Yeah.
so I can just keep playing with them.
Yeah.
Other than that, I've been playing this game recently called The Last Station.
What's that about?
Never heard of it.
Yeah.
It's like I guess I'm like a train engineer guy. I'm driving a train,
Okay.
right? And I think something's happening every time I go to like a different station. People are like sick or people are dying, pretty much turning into zombies. I believe something's happening.
Okay.
I don't know if it's zombies. They haven't explained it yet, but they kind of look like zombies. And
Cool. Okay.
the style of the game is what do they call it?
2D side scrolling?
Yeah, 2D side scrolling. Yeah.
Okay. Where are you playing this on the PS4 or
Xbox.
Xbox?
Yeah, on the Xbox. I had a PS4, and I ended up selling it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it's kind of tough, to be paying for Xbox Live and then PlayStation
I agree
Network
with
and then
you. Yeah.
this. And once I found out that Call of Duty was going to be cross-platform, I said, you know what? The only reason why I even got the PlayStation was to play with my brother, and we were playing the Call of Duty Black Ops 4.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, this is good to go out the door.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
cool. Okay. Wow. Nice.
So I'm saving money on not paying for two different subscriptions.
That's after the Switch came out. I wasn't playing my PlayStation 4 as much. I canceled my PlayStation Plus because it was like, why? I'm not using this to its full extent.
Yeah, and I wasn't using it that much
Yeah.
either.
I
just
kept
to
the
play with my
console
brother.
just because I knew there were going to be games eventually. I'll go play like Spider-Man and God of War, and one day I'll play Last of Us.
Oh yeah, when
Yeah.
that comes out.
That,
Yeah.
Isn't
No,
that
the first one.
Oh, you haven't played the first one?
No, I haven't.
Oh,
I have
wow,
the remaster. Someone gave me a digital
Yeah.
code for it. I downloaded it on my PlayStation 4, and I know this is terrible because every time I tell people this, they get really angry with me, and like it looks like they want to murder me. I haven't booted it up and played it yet, and I've had it on there for like over a year.
They
I
get
haven't-
upset because the game is.
I
It's
hear
amazing.
that too.
hear
I
it.
haven't played that one either. Although
Yeah.
I don't have a copy of it though, but
Yeah.
I hear that as
Yeah,
well.
I hear great things about it, and I want
Yeah.
to get the time, but I just know that right now, if I start playing it, I'm not going to finish it, and it's one of those games that when I start it, I want to be able to complete it. So I'm trying to find the right time to start it.
That's the one that Ellen Page did the
Yes.
the voice acting, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
I believe so.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ellen Page? No, you don't
No,
recognize.
actually, I'm not sure. Yeah.
Ellen Page, rather
Juno?
famous actress.
Juno.
I don't know what she's been in
She was in
recently.
Juno.
Gosh.
I don't know about recently.
Yeah, recently I don't know. Yeah, Juno's a big one.
She was in.
I know she's
Whip
in
It.
this really
It's a roller
weird.
derby movie.
Oh yeah, Whip It. Yeah, she's in this really weird movie called Hard Candy.
I don't.
With,
I've seen part of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
She
Ellen
sounds so
Page.
familiar, but I just can't picture.
I'm just
her.
trying to think of other things that you might know her from movies, but I can't.
Okay.
Oh, she was in the remake of Flatliners.
Oh, I did see
She
that.
was
actually.
she was the main
Was she
the main character, the main doctor lady, the shorter, smaller, more
who was
tomboy
really into the
looking.
research?
Yeah,
and
who was really into the
convincing
research.
everybody,
Yeah.
and she was the one that was going under.
Mhm. Yes, yeah. So
Oh,
that's
yeah.
Ellen Page.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe we can use that to a nice segue into movies. How about movies? Have you seen? Because in the last one we talked about movies, but Eddie, have you seen anything recently that you might want to talk about?
No, I did listen in
Yeah.
to the podcast. You guys were talking about the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What do you feel about it?
I've only seen the first 3 episodes.
Nice.
I'm enjoying it. I
Right?
loved it.
Isn't it? It's so.
Dude,
it's-
no spoilers,
yeah,
right?
yeah. No,
I
I'm trying not to
can't
spoil
really.
this.
Oh
Yeah,
my
you
god.
can't
Okay.
really-
There was a scene.
Yeah.
To not spoil it, but I just wanted to cry. It's like happy tears, like, oh my god, I can't believe that's happening.
Yeah. Well, it's very it hits you in a different place. It's very much a nostalgia, like, oh, I'm a Star Wars fan. This is so exciting! Yay! It's a unique show in that way. It's not like I'm not going to sit here and defend the show and be like, oh my god, it's the most amazing show, Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that's
level.
true. That's true.
It's not there, but it's such a good show. It's so like today's Friday, and I'm going to go home and watch it again, just like last week. And last week's episode was really fun because last week's episode was more of like hey guys, you remember this is in the Star Wars universe? You haven't watched it. I think it's like episode 6 or 5. It's
Okay.
episode 5.
Last time
the
we did a
last one.
podcast, it was episode 5 that was
Yeah,
releasing.
and 6
so.
was today. Yeah, so it was episode 5, and episode 5 is very much like, hey guys, these are all places that you know. Look at these. You've seen these before, and it was just really nice and like, yeah, it was cool.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Happy times.
I can't join in this conversation one bit.
You
'cause
haven't even started to watch it?
I don't have Disney Plus, and
That's your first mistake.
And-
right? Hey,
and
yeah,
I'm,
tell
no,
them
and
this, you'll
well, here,
listen.
get ready for my second mistake.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of Star Wars.
That's okay. I guess that's kind of expected.
If you
Thank
weren't
you.
the moderator,
Thank you.
if
That
you
was-
weren't the moderator on this podcast.
Right, I'd be booted out,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Come on, it's Rick. It's
Yeah.
expected.
Thank you. It's I don't know. It's just not my cup of tea. I'm sorry, but okay. All right then. No. Okay. So movies, Mandalorian, video games. I think we're good there. Anything new?
Yeah, this week, actually yesterday, they put out the new NES and Super Nintendo games for the Nintendo Online service.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they put out Crystalis.
No way.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to play that.
It's there now. Journey to Silius, which was originally supposed to be
That was-
Terminator 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, that game was really difficult and really fun. And then for the Super Nintendo, they put out 4 games. Breath of Fire 2,
Ooh, that's a great title.
Kirby's All-Star Adventure, which is like a bunch of Kirby mini games mixed into one. Then they put out Star Fox 2, which was only ever released before on the Super Nintendo Classic. Now it's on the online service. And Super Punch-Out, which I hold near and dear to my heart for a multitude of reasons.
Didn't we play that on our channel?
We haven't played Super Punch-Out yet. We played...
We played regular Mike Tyson's Punch Out.
Yes, I want to say yes.
Or no, we used the Nintendo Online version, so it was just Punch Out.
Oh yeah, it was just Punch
Just
Out.
Punch
Yeah,
Out,
just to
yeah.
kind of show off when we did our. It came out that month, and I
Yeah.
just played it for a minute. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we did play that, but this is Super Punch Out. Since we're in December, I mean, I feel okay, talking about this stuff. Super Punch Out is one of those games that I received for Christmas that meant a lot to me one year. So it was that and Donkey Kong Country I got in the same Christmas. So I hold those 2 games to a different standard of like nostalgia love.
Okay.
Both to me, I think, are fine, decent games. None of them, they're not. There of them are like, oh my god, this is the most amazing thing. Even though Donkey Kong Country at the time was revolutionary and it was rare, who was an English developer at the time doing something that not a lot had been done in that field of like outside of Japanese developers. But those are just games I hold near and dear to my heart. So to see Super Punch Out on there got me really excited.
I never played that one actually. I did play the Donkey Kong Country back.
Yeah,
That was really fun.
I had never had a Super Nintendo, so I didn't have.
and we played Donkey
but
Kong
we did play
Country.
it. Yeah, you had me play it recently.
Yeah,
And eventually, at first, I was like, okay, this isn't my cup of tea. But then we got to the rail level,
yeah.
rail cart, and I was like, okay, this is fun and challenging and frustrating. And oh my gosh,
Yeah.
why am I playing this?
And
And now
then
I
we got
can't
to
stop.
the living rocks, the on-off switch, where the rocks come to life.
Oh yeah.
And then you have to turn on the green light
Uh-huh.
for them to, or sorry, you have to turn on the red light for them to go back down, and then the green light comes and they move really fast. So,
Yeah.
yeah, there's all these things, and the game just gets better as you go into it. But yeah,
Yeah, it was something that was a lot of fun. I could see how that would be really, really a lot of replay value when you're younger and you have, just a select few titles on a console.
and there wasn't a lot like it at the time.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
now you've seen everything that's been done in that game, but at that time there wasn't really those kind of mechanics
Mhm.
in a lot of games, especially for Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis.
Did we have save points by then?
There were
I think
there was
we did
not-
have, right?
there were saves in the game, so you would have to get to Candy.
Okay.
You
Because
would
I
have to
remember
get
being
to
on
Candy's Candy Kong's house, and then you would jump in the barrel, and it would save your progress
Yeah,
because
it
it was a
did.
long game. It was
Yeah,
like
I did.
Super Mario World length. So it was that same
Okay.
kind of game style.
I will say, since you brought it up, and even though to contradict what I did just say, even though I did not have a Super Nintendo, I did play Breath of Fire 2, and that is a great title. I don't know if you've played Breath of
never played
Fire,
2. I've
Breath of
played
Fire
3.
2. Only 3?
Mhm.
Wow. Okay.
I've never even heard of this.
I have 1 and 2 on the online shop now for the Super Nintendo.
Yes.
I will go back and play them. It's just, once again, RPGs take a long time.
Yeah, so thank you,
Oh, it's
Nick. So,
RPG,
so they're
okay.
RPG titles, Breath of Fire and Breath of Fire 2, and I've played them up until 4. Then after that, it goes to Quartet, I think is the name of the title, and it was like a really big drastic change. I think that was on the PlayStation 2, and unfortunately, I never got to play that one. But yes, I have played 2, 3, 4, and 2 is a really great title because you have a huge cast of characters. They have this really cool morphing system where you can combine. You throughout the world, you would find these shamans of various elemental properties, and also you had a town that you could actually contribute. It was like a side quest that you can actually contribute and develop. And if you did, you would eventually unlock this ability to meld two of these shamans with a character and make a brand new character. And they had so many different variations. It was really, really cool. I played that title probably a couple of times now. I remember playing it when I was younger, not really knowing, much about RPGs in the Super Nintendo era, but I did play Breath of Fire, the first title as well, and I played that one all the way to completion, and Breath of Fire 2 all the way to completion, and that one's like one of my favorites, Breath of Fire 2. Yeah, and it to bring off the top, just to mention that one of the characters that you have in Breath of Fire 2 is a cat-like warrior character. So I was like, that was an immediate selling point for me on that title. You get to have an army, a party of set characters. Yeah. Breath of Fire 2. That's cool. That's cool. That's on the Breath of Fire was a release title for a Super Nintendo
in Japan.
No. On the online system. On the Switch,
on the Switch.
It was included. It was included in like the 10 original titles. 20. Sorry,
the 20 titles. Yeah, Breath of Fire was there.
Thank you. Breath of Fire was there. Yes, I would totally recommend it. Yeah,
they just released that.
They actually do have some sort of a sequence connection to each other. It seems like in Breath of Fire 4, there was like a really big drop in the tie-in to the rest of them, but the between 3 and 1, it's got a really good story. The first story is really, really good if you really want to have like a good a kid that's put into a world where everything is against him, and he rises up and he fights for good. Really great, yeah. I love that title. Wow, so cool! Yeah. Exciting to hear about that. And Crystalis too. I've always wanted to play that title.
Yeah,
I don't know if you played it.
I've played it as an adult. I never played it as a kid, so I have no nostalgia memory for it. I played it as an adult, and it's fun. I'm still getting used to what I'm supposed to do in the game. But just the holding to charge attack is really cool, and it seems like something I'll really get into. I picked it up last night. Sure. Yeah, because it came out yesterday. Last night, I picked it up and played for like 5 minutes, and I was like, okay, I'm going to come back to this for sure.
What kind of game is that?
It's like a top-down adventure game.
Okay.
Kind of like Legend of Zelda, but made by SNK, so doesn't have like the Nintendo polish. Mm-hmm. It's not a bad game. It's just a little more clunky than like a first-party Nintendo game would be, just to be honest.
I remember trying that when I was younger, and I couldn't figure out where to go outside of like the start of the game.
I just came into that. Like, I played for 5 minutes. You go out to the gate, and then the first cave you find, it takes you to a room where nothing's there. And I'm like, okay, now I have to go back and figure this out. And so that's where. And then I was like, I'll pick this up later.
Just to add to that, where it's a great story of pre-internet days. When I had tried that when I was younger, back in high school, I had a friend who I had mentioned that I played this game before, and I told him exactly the same thing. Whereas I didn't know what to do, and he's like, oh, you're supposed to do this. Like, how did you not figure it out? He actually explained to me, what to do at the beginning of the title of the game, what I'm just trying to bring up now is it's nice to have a moment of like that where, I didn't have the internet to look it up. Luckily, I brought it up to a friend.
That's what video games used to be.
It used to be like that,
You used to go talk to people at school about it, what you were doing, and if they knew it, it just became this whole social aspect of things.
Yeah. Or you pick up the game guide.
I didn't have game guides, unfortunately. I only had a handful, but none of them had anything about Crystalis, unfortunately. But that was a really cool title. I'm looking forward to hopefully giving that one a try. Yeah.
And also this week, for me, this is totally a me thing. Yacht Club Games finally released their last chapter in the Shovel Knight Treasure Trove, The King of Cards.
You have been waiting for that forever.
I've been waiting for that for so long. I always play, so I love Shovel Knight.
That
you
have
game
not
is
stopped talking
phenomenal.
about
I
that.
will never stop talking about Shovel Knight.
Yeah.
That was my game of the year, whatever year it came out, as just best platformer. That game was just so good. It was such a well-crafted game. And then they put out the Plague Knight chapter, which was good. But it was their first attempt, it felt like, at adding a character. So the levels were slightly altered, but it still felt like you were playing the same game through as a second person. But then they put out the Spectre Knight one, Spectre of Torment chapter, where you played a Spectre Knight, and they redesigned all the levels and the story for him. And so the game played completely different. And now in the King of Cards, you're playing as King Knight. And once again, they've created the levels. The levels look familiar, like, oh, you're going to go run and talk to Plague Knight or fight Plague Knight. You're in his castle, so the level feels like graphically the same, but every room is so unique to King Knight's actions, and it's really fun. And there's a weird card game in it that they added into it. The whole point of the King of Cards is King Knight is going to become the King of Cards. There's like this card Joust, I think it's called Joust Cards. There's a card game in there. I've only played it for like an hour, so I can't quite remember. But basically there's 4 tiles, and you're just moving cards around, and you're trying to collect the most gems. I'm not going to go into the aspects of the card game yet, but you're trying to become the champion of that, to prove yourself as something as King Knight. And I think this is the story of how King Knight becomes King Knight in his castle as he wins this story and gets it. But that's just my speculation, because he doesn't have his castle.
Are these single player?
These are all single-player games, yeah.
Games?
They also did with it release a multiplayer 4-player battle game, like a 2D fighting game for the Shovel Knight universe with it. So if you would own the Treasure Trove before, which is the Shovel Knight package, all the DLC is free. You can buy them individually, but if you own the package, if you buy the one game, you get all of the games. And if you've never played it, and you like 2D platformers with solid controls and just so good. It's one of those games where, real quick, sorry, I know I've studied a lot of time on this, but it's one of those games where when you die, you're never like, I feel cheated. You feel like, I messed up. And to me, that shows the quality of good level design, is the fact that I never feel like, oh, well, they put that there just so I would get hit, and it hit me off screen so I would die. No, it's like, oh, I second-guessed myself, and I should have jumped further. It's always, I'm the one who messed up, not the game, which is really a nice thing. That's what I like about those games. I'm really excited to see what they do after this, too. I'm going to finish it, beat it, and then see where Yacht Club Games goes, because they're not supposed to, unless they do a sequel to Shovel Knight, the Shovel Knight Kickstarter, this all started as a Kickstarter, and this is their last stretch goal. That's it. They fulfilled everything they promised from their Kickstarter of 5 to 7 years ago. Yeah.
Is this available on all platforms?
All platforms,
yeah?
everything.
Okay.
Yeah, you can get it from the 3DS all the way up to the current gen consoles.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 3DS, Wii U, PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, PlayStation 4,
Wow.
Xbox One, Nintendo Switch. I'm sure I'm Vita. I'm sure I'm forgetting something too. Like, they put this game everywhere.
Wow, geez, that's what, spanning 5 years and so many consoles and handhelds.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's a really fun game.
Yeah, I know you're a big fan of that title,
Yes.
and I know you've been waiting for this a long time.
I am. Yeah, I have been. And they're also putting out amiibos, which I don't know if I'll be able to get my hands on, because it's like $30 or $35 for
Whoa.
3 amiibos. 3 amiibos.
Oh, for 3, okay.
Plague, Spectre, and King Knight. I already
Wow.
have Shovel Knight, the amiibo, because that was a cool story where Yacht Club wanted an amiibo and went to Nintendo and was like, hey, we want to put out an amiibo, and Nintendo's like, fine, but we're not licensed. Like, it's not a licensed one. So it's a licensed one. Sorry, we're not going to do it in-house. Here's our vendor. So Yacht Club Games actually went out and paid the money to get the Shovel Knight amiibo produced. Nintendo did distribute them into the stores, and they went on the shelves with amiibos. So if you pick up the bottom of amiibos, they usually say Nintendo. The Shovel Knight's the only one where you pick it up, it says licensed by Nintendo, because they had nothing to do with the actual production of it.
Huh.
This was something that they wanted to do. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's like a small little unique amiibo in its own right.
And Shovel Knight,
There's a board game too.
there's a Shovel Knight. It's not in Smash.
Yes, it's a trophy. He's an assist trophy.
Oh, he's a trophy.
I wanted him as a fighter. That would have been awesome. I think you can also dress up me as Shovel Knight, possibly.
Oh, okay.
Possibly, but I know he's an assist trophy.
Oh, yeah, because now that we're talking about Smash, I just remember that little knight-looking character, but that's not...
No, Shovel Knight, he's blue, he has horns. Meta Knight.
Oh, Meta Knight.
Yeah,
from
Meta
Kirby.
Knight's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's from
Okay.
Kirby.
yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't play Kirby.
But
No,
Shovel
it's
Knight,
okay.
I mean, Shovel Knight's been in so many indie games, like a ton of indie games. Shovel Knight is just in. They'll add him to all these indie games, like from fighting games like Brawlhalla, I think it's called, to just other ones you'll be in there, and Shovel Knight will just be placed in there for whatever, as a character you talk to or as a playable character. He was in Blaster Master Zero as a playable character.
Really?
And so was Shantae.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they had modes of it where you could buy them and play as Shantae or Shovel Knight.
Wow, cool. Huh, neat.
I don't know who Shantae is.
Shantae is from a 2D platformer. She's been, I think her first
She's a
debut was
genie.
from, she was a genie. Through the course of the gameplay where she was a genie, she loses her powers, and then right now she's half a genie.
Yes, the half genie hero.
I think she first came out in a Game Boy Color game
Yeah.
title. from Way Forward. I think it's always been with Way Forward.
I'm pretty sure it's been
yeah.
Way Forward too the whole time, or the company that they were before they were Way Forward.
Yeah.
It was a Game Boy Color game was the first one.
Yeah.
And then they've gone up. It's all small indie games, but they're really fun.
Yes, a lot of fun. I had Pirates Risky Boots pirate one. Gosh, I can't remember the name of the title.
Yeah,
of
I
it.
can't remember the name. I know the one. I have the one after that, the one where you can actually. I think is it Half Genie?
Half Genie Hero.
The one where you can turn into the creatures.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's the most recent one now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get my hands on that one because there's been a lot of games that have been going on sale.
Yeah.
And actually a lot
that
of
game goes on sale quite a bit. You just have to find it.
Yeah.
It's usually like 50% or more off. So.
Yeah, hopefully I can get my hands on it. Those are really fun titles. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing a little bit over here because you guys triggered Brittney Spears into me. Just
what?
hearing Genie, I was like, I'm a genie and I found
No, that's Christina Aguilera.
Is that Christina Aguilera? Oh,
Yeah.
I thought it was Brittany.
No.
I don't even know who sings it.
But just to bring it up, are you surprised that I was able to correct you on that?
Yeah.
You were surprised?
No, not surprised actually.
Okay, yeah.
No,
I was not
I thought
surprised.
that was. Yeah, you're not surprised. Yeah, I'm
Not
just. Yeah, I'm poking fun of myself.
Yeah.
Anyways, so
does this mean you're a Christina Aguilera fan? Is that what you're saying?
I am a fan of anything.
Of anything.
Of anything, yes. Anything from any age.
Dad.
Yeah.
I'm in jail.
I'm in jail. I like it here. Gosh, I wish I could remember the name of that band right now. But yeah.
It's like way not or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Something along those lines.
Yeah, which okay, so to bring up a little story, so I played that song for Nick because I thought that it was something that you would like.
Yeah.
Which is a song I've heard. I think I originally heard it from a movie called Pump Up the Volume with Christian Slater. Which is again a movie that seems like nobody ever knows.
Nope.
I've never seen
Yeah,
it.
no,
but I like movies.
It's a movie that I love. It's a really great movie about how Christian Slater's character runs an indie radio station, and he goes on at night and he starts just talking about everything and anything that's on his head, and he starts saying a lot of things about how he acts in a way that he would never act in his own personal life. In his own personal life, when going to school in high school, he's really quiet, reserved, just keeps to himself and does nothing. And it's kind of like Footloose, but in terms of a radio station.
I was gonna say it's kind of like our podcast.
What?
We're quiet or reserved, and then we come on here and we're.
Okay.
Yeah,
That went way over my head.
That was directed right at your head.
Yeah, I know, but I didn't get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's okay.
All right. Another thing. Full disclaimer: I'm slow. All right. So, anyways, in that the movie, he plays a lot of songs, and one of them is the Arena Schlitzel song from the Vandals or Descendants.
Is it Vandals or Descendants? We had this
Oh
conversation.
no, yeah, we did. It's not the Vandals. It's got to be the
It
Descendants.
has to be the Descendants.
Yeah. So anyways, so that's a really great song. But he plays another song where the guy's in the song he's calling his dad from jail, and the way he speaks, he goes, "Hello, Dad. I'm in jail. I like it here. Happy
Dad.
birthday."
Happy birthday.
Yeah, it is just a really
I'm in
weird song.
jail.
Yeah, it's a really weird song.
It's not a particularly good song, but it's enjoyable.
Yeah, which
Yes.
is a good point of the whole spectrum of everything that I like, because I like everything, and that's something I would listen to. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just reminded me about movies. We didn't talk about the Steven Universe stuff. Remember we were kind of planning to do something about that?
Yes,
yeah.
thank you.
We ended up watching those movies. Did you?
Yeah.
You ended up watching
I didn't
too?
finish
You
Steven
didn't
Universe.
finish?
No, I still have not
Wow.
finished Steven Universe.
Steven Universe, yes.
Okay.
Okay, yes.
And what was the other one? Invader Zim.
Oh yeah, Invader Zim.
Invader
was
Zim,
really
yeah.
good.
So Invader Zim is something that Nick knows a lot about.
Mhm.
I would like to say that I know a lot about Steven Universe. Well, I can say that I love Steven Universe. I love this whole animation, this whole story, the movie, and it's been brought back recently with a brand new season called Steven Universe Future, and I'm loving it.
Is that out yet?
Yes, it is
Oh,
out.
was
It
it
came out.
already?
It came out last week,
Okay.
and it's coming again every Saturday right now at 8 p.m.
Mm.
I don't know whether it's Central Time, but anyways, they've had a really great launch. Steven Universe is a really great cartoon about a little. No, he's not really little, but
Not anymore.
not anymore.
Yeah.
But a boy who was half gem, half human, and everything in between, and is discovering his own world of dealing and knowing with what that means, right?
And dealing with puberty.
Right now, actually, he is. I feel that Steven Universe Future is all about Steven coming to age of everything that it is now, whereas Steven Universe, the original series, was all about what Steven is explaining exactly what Steven is, because it's not until the very end that you do actually find out. Big spoiler alert right now. You actually find out that he is in fact a fusion. He is what I would imagine you would call a permanent fusion. Mm-hmm. So if for a fusion, what that is that he's a combination of gem and human, whereas gems have this ability to fuse together and become something else. Yeah.
I mean, they did hint at it throughout the whole show.
Yes, they totally did. You don't see it until a lot of the things that they're releasing now on Steven Universe Future about these hints about what he is, where he came from, and even a lot of the stuff.
His mom disappeared.
Yes,
and she never came back, and he has her gem, and then they even show that gems can fuse with humans when he starts fusing with Connie.
Yes, yeah,
and just they slowly give you the hints, and it was really well done the way they slowly brought you up to speed to give you that moment to where you then look back and go, I should have caught it here. Oh, wait, I should have caught it here.
Yeah. This series is really, really great. And it touches on so many important topics that, that kids...
Our favorite bands, girls that have broken our hearts, or
The Matrix. It touches on so many topics that I feel that our kids are eventually going to face, will face, or have to face, and it delivers them the confidence to try to deal with it in a way that is, can be clearly understood and grasped and accepted.
Cartoons are so different than when we were kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
When we were kids, it was like he got blown up.
Yeah. I am an avid.
The Ninja Turtles were eating pizza and kicking robots. Yeah, now it's like this is how you feel about yourself inside, and this is how to step up to a bully or to express to the person you love. And it's like, why are cartoons so deep now?
No, it's not deep now. They've always been that way. It's just that we don't always have a cartoon that will do that will kind of push those kind of boundaries. All right? I don't even want to say push those boundaries, but just talk about it. It's okay to talk about these things. I remember growing up and watching certain things like, what was a cartoon back in the day that would have, I want to say Macross, actually. I think Macross...
Well, see, here's the problem with Macross, or Macross, or however you want to pronounce it.
Or Robotech.
Or Robotech. Those aren't cartoons. Those are animes in Japan that were created for older teens and young adults that were put over here, because most animes were created for, high school men. So it's not like Macross wasn't something that was like, hey, little kids in Japan who are 7 and 8 years old, watch this. I don't believe that that's the intention.
Okay. Give me a second to think of a title. Maybe even Ronin Warriors.
I don't know Ronin Warriors enough to defend that one. To fight you on this.
I want to say that possibly, because I'm trying to think of cartoons that I remember watching when I was younger. Before I realized, what things are coming into now.
I'm talking more of Western cartoons, what we grew up with, because you have to think we come from a very Puritan-based society in America. So it's not like it is in European countries where it's a little more open, like things are talked about, feelings, sexuality are talked about. Here, we're very closed off.
Yes.
Boobs are evil on TV, and here's 6 words you can't say.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So we come from a very sheltered way. So just think about it that way. I'm not talking about, like, hey, I watched Danger Mouse, and that taught me how to be a good person.
Right.
Which Danger Mouse didn't, but it's a phenomenal show.
No, you're right. Yeah. You're right. It's they were cartoons created for entertainment and only purely for entertainment purposes. Mm-hmm. Even Scooby-Doo, I want to say, even though it had real-ish type characters. Again, I'm doing air quotes on a podcast, which nobody can see me doing it.
I think we should change the name from Winging It to air quotes.
Air quotes, yeah. Yes. Nick, Rick, and Eddie bring you air quotes. Yeah. The podcast, where those are teenage characters put into rather dangerous situations, but they went through it as comically as possible. Whereas I guess that's where was a draw for me towards anime, because it dealt with situations and things that were I never saw in cartoons here. Yeah. And little things that always bugged me. Actually, one of the things that always bugged me growing up with watching Ninja Turtles was the fact that April O'Neil's, she always wore the same outfit.
They all always wear the same outfit.
Well, technically the Turtles aren't wearing clothes.
No, but Shredder wears the same outfit. Splinter wears the same outfit.
Yeah, you're
April
right.
O'Neil wears the same outfit. The boss in the radio, in the news station. Myra, I think her name is, the assistant, always wore the same outfit.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just cartoons. I mean, look at The Simpsons.
Yeah.
The Simpsons have been wearing 3 outfits each for 30 years.
No, I'm sure. No, that's not what I'm saying. We can name off a number of cartoons where characters wear. But I remember growing up, that was the first cartoon that I recall watching where I saw that, I noticed it, and it irked me. And it irked me before I saw the existence of anime, where I actually saw where characters did wear different outfits
depending on situation.
Yeah, and not situations.
Well,
but
not
just
situations, but like not situations.
But
yeah,
kind depending
of
on the anime.
like, well, the anime, but within the anime situations, like, oh, hey, it's late at night, I'm gonna wear my nightgown, or I'm going to school, I'm gonna wear my school uniform. I'm out playing with my friends, I'm gonna wear my jeans. Like, depending on what the scene called for, the clothes fit. It just wasn't one set of clothes and one drawing, reused animations. Right,
which I will give in defense of April O'Neil's jumpsuit. It's phenomenal. It was an outfit for all occasions. Yes. It certainly was.
Rain, snow, sun, the beach, it didn't matter.
No, it did not matter. That same yellow jumpsuit, but we've gone off topic a little bit. Going back to Steven Universe, yes. So the new episodes just came out. It was 4 episodes released. They had a whole hour punch of it, and it was fantastic. I want to say because of the fact that it's a brand new era. It literally is a brand new era within the show itself. It's Era 3. It's a brand new series where Steven is becoming a young adult, and I like seeing these challenges that he's being faced with. I like seeing the direction that they're taking it, and I like seeing the way that everybody is growing in the series. It's awesome and new and fantastic. I can't praise it enough, and I hope the staff get to do more seasons of this, because I didn't even think they were going to do a series after this ended, because if you see what's happening now, one of the things that they're alluding to is more about Pink Diamond's past and the abilities that she has now. There is actually hints about stuff in the previous seasons, which is really, really cool, because it shows that they were doing this the whole entire time, which I love stuff like that.
So is this new show supposed to continue from where the movie ended?
Yes, it actually does. Continues? Yes, because you can see it from the very intro to the show. There was a brand new character that was introduced during the movie called Spinel. Spinel is actually seen on the shoulder of Yellow Diamond in the intro.
Oh, wow, okay.
Which I haven't checked yet, but the Cartoon Network had released the new intro on YouTube before the series came out. I don't think you can see Spinel on the shoulder.
They probably omitted her until...
I think they may have. I'm not exactly sure. I have to go back and check. But yeah, there's little touches like that. But going back to the movie, thank you, Eddie, because the whole plot of the movie was fantastic too. The music is great. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did, because I'm a sucker for musicals, and there was practically a song a minute during the whole entire movie. And just one thing that I want to talk about really quick about the movie itself is the amount of references in it, because there's so many. And the first one I want to mention off is something that is a really cool nod to Spinella herself is modeled after an old-timey type of cartoon structure, where her eyes, she has the pie slice eye, where it's the cone, reflection in the eye. That's the design of her eyes, where that was the style of old type cartoons.
Old 40s. 1940s, and I'll say 30s and 40s, or 40s and 50s.
Yeah, around that era. And then her herself, the whole character, as I don't think there's a scene where she isn't moving, she's bouncing, she's like constantly going along.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, because of how the music, a lot of those other ones used to have music and companies to it, where, the characters are bouncing and dancing along.
A lot of times before voice acting,
yeah. And also, one of the great things about her animation style is that she has
20s and 30s. Sorry.
The Spinel character has two. When you first see her, she has two tufts of hair. When she becomes positive and the heart diamond, her heart gem flips right side up, the tufts become more heart shaped. And in every scene that you see her, those two heart shaped ears, I want to say, they're always in frame, no matter how she changes her head, how she turns her head.
So like old Mickey Mouse.
Not old Mickey Mouse, new Mickey Mouse.
Oh, new Mickey Mouse.
New Mickey Mouse, yes, which is an actual rule of animation of Mickey Mouse. And if you go back far enough in the older cartoons of Mickey Mouse, that rule isn't necessarily applied. If you look at examples now, you definitely see it. I'm not exactly sure when it was
Is
implied.
it to ingrain the
It
the
is a rule.
image? Is it? Do you think it's a subconscious thing by Disney to ingrain that image of if you see a circle with two circles up top, that the first thing you're going to think about is Mickey Mouse?
It was a decision made by Walt Disney. I'm 99% sure that this was a decision made by Walt Disney because I think he did start to recognize that the
How
Mickey
iconic it
design,
was,
was becoming so iconic. So it became an animation rule of Mickey Mouse. So that no matter how he changes his head, the best example I could say is if you ever catch Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, no matter how he changes his head, both ears are always present, which can be sort of weird sometimes. But that's how the rule is. And Spinell has the exact same rule applied to her.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, which is so cool.
I'm gonna have to keep an eye out for this now.
Yeah. Which, I mean, these are things that I had noticed, and luckily, I want to say luckily, I was aware of this, and I saw that they did this kind of attention to Spinell and Steven Universe, which again just makes me love it even more. That they do these kind of little nods. And speaking of nods, another great example that actually a reference that I saw in the movie. It took me, I don't know, I want to say like maybe 3 times before I noticed it, 3 times watching the movie. There is a scene where Connie bursts into the house and she's on top of Lion. And at first, like, I didn't understand why she came in, and she's wielding her sword and she's like guns blazing, ready to fight. And she pops in and she slides across the floor with the sword in hand on Lion. And it took me a couple times to realize that scene was a reference to Akira with Kaneda on his bike.
Oh, that's weird.
When he does that iconic slide.
When the scene, like early in the movie too, right? Halfway?
I think it's later in the movie.
It's when he's going to fight Tetsuo,
he does that full screen shot slide. Mm-hmm. That Connie busting on the Lion was a reference to that. Which I think is so cool, and I'm like, I'm old enough to know of Akira, but there's a whole generation now that would not catch that.
I've never seen that.
Yeah,
you should watch it. I want to talk about amazing cartoons. It's one of the few cartoons that or animes, or it's a movie that holds up. Like the animation style in it. This movie was done in 1981, and if you watch it now, it is still valid. The animation style, it does not feel like it was done in 1981. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, they usually remaster these cartoons, right? Like the latest.
Yeah, but that one, I mean, I've seen it on VHS all the way up through, I think, Blu-ray, and it looks phenomenal no matter what.
I think in the mid 90s, they did a redubbing of it, and I personally I can't watch it. I can't watch. If you have Hulu, they have it on Hulu. They have they have subtitled and dub. They have the dub, the new redub. I don't like the new redub because I am so ingrained in my head the voice of Kaneda, because in the original dubbing of it, it was voiced by the same voice actor that did Leonardo in the Ninja Turtles cartoon.
Oh wow!
Okay. So that's the voice I want to hear when I watch that movie. So if you can get your hands on a VHS of it, watch that version.
That's the version I watched was VHS.
Yeah.
VHS.
Yeah.
Do we still own VCRs, guys?
Yes, I do.
Do you still own one?
Yes,
I have one
do.
at my desk.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. I have one right here at my desk. We can walk out there, pop in a tape.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I got two more references that I want to point out.
Okay.
And it's from the movie.
I can't wait because I want to talk about serious things after this. Your conversations aren't heavy enough. I want to talk about serious stuff next.
Get ready for this, okay? Yeah. So when Spinell's character is first shown in the movie, and she's attacking the 3 of them, and she's singing that great song of what's called "Gee, it's great to meet your other friends." It's called "Other Friends," and she's swinging around fighting them, and she's swinging around a Skype. And the whole method that she's swinging it around, I am pretty sure it's a reference to a character named Maka from Soul Eater, because in that anime, the main character Maka and her partner Soul, who's can change it to a Skype, she twists around her body like constantly, and Spinell does the same thing. And I'm pretty sure that's a reference to that. And also, okay, this will be the last one that I will talk about. Is Spinell does a reference to Sailor Moon, when later on in the movie, when she explains to Steven Universe about what happened and what made her heart turn upside down because of what Pink Diamond did to her, she changes from the good-looking Spinel, I shouldn't say good-looking Spinel, but from the Spinel with the hearts on her head to the Spinel with the tufts. When she does that, the background changes to a flashing motion, and she herself changes into a light silhouette form of herself, and she spins around and throws her hair back, and the hair changes, which is very reminiscent of the Sailor Moon magical transformation.
But so many people have used that. And that's nothing new. There are a lot of shows that do that.
There are.
That's a very
Teen Titans Go.
Yeah, every time they do the leg day.
Yes,
Lady Leg Assist does that every time. Yeah,
yes, but it's. I want to say that it's important that
Regular Show did it in.
Regular Show did it?
Yeah, didn't they do it? Well, they didn't. No, they did something that was closer to old Voltron. I'm thinking of.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. But I like seeing these old, call outs to, stuff that I imagine influenced them to where they are today. And yes, I love the series. I love this movie. I can't praise it enough. If you haven't seen it, please do. You guys watch it again, please.
Yeah, I'd recommend it. I enjoyed the movie. I've never seen the show.
Mm-hmm.
This is my first time. I used to watch the intro to the Steven Universe show because I like that little music, the little song that goes to the intro.
Yeah.
But that's as far as I would watch, right? And then you recommended the movie. I watched it. I love the story.
Thank you for doing that.
The story that's being told in the movie is very
yes,
very warm and heartfelt.
Yes.
And it was really good. And I enjoyed the musicals, and I thought it was a good movie. I wouldn't mind now going back to see if I can get into the show itself. Probably start from the beginning because it wasn't very interesting because I had a lot of questions for you. Where is the mom? What happened? Did they ever explain those things? And
yes, they do.
Yes, they do. And
yes.
I was like, okay. Yeah.
So
for you? Did you like the movie?
Oh, I haven't finished the movie, but it's what I've seen I've liked. I used to watch Steven Universe. I used to watch it weekly when it would come out, and then I kind of fell off watching it because, it's a good show. It's a really good show.
Yes,
it is very deep and heavy.
It can be, yes.
And it's enjoyable. He's an enjoyable character. All of the gems are just great with their own personalities, and kind of like they do mention in the show, but it kind of feels like all of the gems are a different personality that a mom would have split up into their own. And without all of them, I remember an episode where they talk about that, but without all of them, he couldn't grow into a functioning adult because he needs each one of those portions of that person, which he was always lacking from the one mother figure, but he then gained it in the three gems who don't really know how to interact with humans, which was also a really fun thing, but they kind of did their thing. So I want to talk about serious cartoons.
What did you want to talk about?
Invader Zim. The most serious of all serious cartoons. Yeah, you should have known it was going there.
Yeah.
You were getting heavy there, and I was like, man, this is going to be hard to follow up with how serious of a show Invader Zim is.
It is on the other side of the spectrum of cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Invader Zim is a cartoon that is serious as it is funny.
It's
as funny as it is serious.
As it is not serious.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. It's created by a comic book artist / writer named Johnen Vasquez, who did Johnny the Homicidal Maniac and Squee before this, and some other offshoot, smaller comics. Just phenomenal artist, hilariously funny person.
He did a summer short of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on Nickelodeon, which is so good.
Yeah. And he had this show. They put it on Nickelodeon, and it had 2.5 seasons. I want to say was the final count of it.
I thought it was 3. I thought
it wasn't a full
3.
third season.
No,
it wasn't a full third season. And it's just a hilarious show about a really dumb alien who's sent to Earth so that his people who are trying to conquer the universe can try to forget about him and his adventures on trying to conquer Earth. But he's just so dumb. It's so good. And his interaction, he goes to school, his interaction with another boy who's named Dib, who's obsessed with the paranormal and aliens and Bigfoot and stuff like that. So he's the only one that notices Zim's an alien, and everyone else is like, Yeah, right, Dib. Sure, Zim's an alien. And it's like saying just because he looks different, he's an alien. That would make old kid an alien too. And it cuts to the back of the class, and there's this really old, short person in the back of the class. He's like, "Hey guys," and that's just kind of what the show is, and it goes on like that. It's their weekly adventures of fun. Yeah.
To Dib's defense, I think Gaz, his sister,
she's amazing.
I think she knows or
Of
like
course she
accepts
does.
it, but she just doesn't want to give him the
Gaz
credit.
is the smart one in the show, the one who understands it as where she sees everyone else in this world and this show as an idiot.
Yeah.
And it's just beautiful because she knows he's an alien, but she doesn't care.
Yeah, exactly.
Because she's like, why? Gaz kind of feels like that character. It's like, why do I care about this? I'm going to grow up and go live my life anyway. This affects it none, so why should I care? It's great.
You know, to add to Invader Zim, gosh, the voice acting on this is phenomenal.
Yes, it is.
If I'm not mistaken, the voice actor that does Dib, he used to be Chuck on The Wonder Years.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right.
Yeah, and then Gaz is Gray Delis.
I'm really bad with voice actor names, but yeah.
Well, I'm not really doing myself justice right now because I can't recall the two.
So Zim though is the same voice actor that did Daggett in The Angry Beavers.
I see. I never watched that one.
That show is so good too. Talk about another serious show with heartfelt moments and just like powering those points home about how to grow up. No, it was another cartoon that was from Nickelodeon about two beavers who lived in a dam, and Norbert was the smart one. I can't remember the actor who voices him, but he has this very distinct, very deep voice. I can't even try to even do an impersonation of it, and I've seen him on other things, like blonde hair, seen him on other TV shows, and he's the smart brother, and Daggett is the really dumb brother, so he's kind of like Zim before Zim was around, and it's just...
It sounds so familiar to me, Angry Beavers, but I just don't recall it.
Yeah, it was two beavers and just their daily interactions with beavers living in a dam. So like, oh, the corporation's trying to knock down our dam because they want to build a water ride through here or whatever the situation is. They were just them fighting with themselves. Like, oh, we can't sleep, so we're up all night and we're starting to hallucinate because we haven't slept in days. Just things like that. Yeah. But Invader Zim is a great show. It was sad to see it go the way it did. Nickelodeon kind of did that show wrong. The way they handled it.
Okay, so I did look it up because I was curious about it. I was wrong. It's the voice of Gaz is Melissa Fawn, but I was right about Dib. He used to play Chuck on The Wonder Years. His name is Andy Berman.
Okay.
Yeah, and also because I can never remember his name, but Kevin McDonald's in this too. He voices one of the tallest.
He's the tallest. Yes.
Yeah, Kevin McDonald.
Kids in the Hall.
Yeah, Kids in the Hall. You ever seen Lilo and Stitch?
Hair and he talks like this.
Yeah. Lilo and Stitch. He does the one eyeball creature thing.
The green alien who comes down with the doctor who's supposed to be watching the doctor. Have you seen Lilo and Stitch?
Of
course, you've seen Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but yeah, he talks like this, and he's just a really scrawny guy.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. Kids in the Hall. If you ever can watch Kids in the Hall, check that out. It's really
I've
great,
seen a couple of episodes of that.
Oh, okay, yeah. He's one of them.
He's the shorter, curly hair guy with glasses.
Yeah.
With really big glasses on there. Have you ever seen the I'm squashing your head? Squashing your head. That one?
Does he come out in Blast from the Past with?
No. That's
one?
Andy McDonald. I want to say Blast from the Past.
What is that?
Mr. I Love Brendan Fraser doesn't remember Blast from the Past.
What is Blast from the Past?
Brendan Fraser is a kid was a baby in the 50s whose parents, or was he not born yet?
I think he was born
in the shelter. So in the 50s, his parents thought that a nuclear war was going to happen. So his dad was Christopher Walken, built this fallout shelter, closed it because he knew that radiation was going to be there and couldn't leave till later. They had Brendan Fraser.
This is Brendan Fraser?
Yeah.
Yes, this is Brendan Fraser.
Wait, to get that right, I love Bedazzled, okay? I love that movie.
I know.
With Brendan Fraser.
And Encino Man.
I do love Encino Man.
There you go, see?
Yeah, okay.
Come on, The Mummy?
The Mummy's pretty good too.
So,
wasn't that Topher Grace? Not Brendan Fraser. It's Brendan Fraser?
Brendan Fraser and Blast from
not
the Past.
Topher Grace. What is the guy that played Spider-Man?
Tobey Maguire?
Tobey Maguire.
No,
that's not the one in this movie you're talking about?
No, not Blast from the
Yeah,
Past.
Christopher Walken's the dad. And they send him up and he meets Alicia Silverstone and she helps him. And Andy McDonald or Kevin... Is it Andy McDonald? Shoot. One of the kids in the hall plays her gay friend.
Yeah.
You're talking about
Blast from the Past.
No, you're talking about Tobey Maguire. It's not.
No,
it's not Brendan
Brendan
Fraser. I'm gonna look this
Maguire.
up.
You
I'm
look
gonna,
this up.
I'm gonna look this up right now.
Back to Zim. They put out the movie Enter the Florpus and Enter the Florpus.
Yeah, Enter the Florpus. Yeah.
Enter the Florpus.
Yeah.
The thing is, we were going to talk about this about a week after I watched the show. It's been about 4 months since I watched that movie, and I love Invader Zim, but I've only watched it once.
It's been that long.
It's been that long. Yes, it has.
No.
Yes, it has. It's been
Where
a
does
long time.
go?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yes,
And-
it was. Yes,
and
it
we're
was.
right.
It is
Of course
Brendan
we
Fraser. Yes, it is.
I don't know why you question me on things like this when I'm 100% sure on things. But yeah, so The Florpus was just a really good movie about just the Invader Zim universe. It kind of answers like what happened during all this time. They even poke fun at that when the movie starts, like Zim is disappeared and Dim's what's happened to him? So they don't try to pick up from like day after the show ended. They give you the time gap, like, hey, this is when Nickelodeon canceled it, and this is when we made the movie.
Yeah,
it's great.
Which goes to show Jonen's sense of humor.
Sense of humor is hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, if you get a chance to read his comics, they're just funny. They're just insanely hilarious. Probably my favorite comic book artist and writer would be Johnen Vasquez.
Yeah.
In writer after him would be, I don't know, I want to say maybe like a Grant Morrison or a Peter Milligan, like a more serious writer. And artist, it's Mike Allred after Johnen Vasquez. Johnen Vasquez and Mike Allred right behind him. If you don't know Mike Allred, he did Madman, Red Rocket 7, Ecstatics, which turned into X Factor. He does a very like Andy Warhol pop style of art for his things. I'll show you pictures of his stuff, and I'm sure you've seen it before if you've seen comic books or know anything about comic books. You're looking at me with this face like you're so confused.
I think Eddie and I are in the same boat here.
Yeah,
we're not. I didn't read comics growing up.
I'm sorry. I am also the nerdiest of everyone in this room, and I understand that, and I can accept
you
that.
also are the oldest, and so therefore you've had the most experience.
I'm the oldest, so there were only comic books before because there weren't other forms of media. I get it.
Yeah. So so anyways, going back to Enter the Florpus.
Yeah.
This whole movie was just so funny. I think one of the funnier bits for me that really got me laughing was when I think it was like the parade was going on and Invader Zim was up in the window and Dib was on the floor.
Hey, Dib!
What? And just the back and forth. Yeah. It's just,
I think the funniest thing that just embodies the idea of Zim is he's like, where were you all this time? He's like, I was working on my master plan, and they cut to him, and he was just standing inside of a toilet. And he's like, you were standing in the toilet the whole time? And he's like, yes. And he's like, he's like laughing in the toilet because that was his master plan, and it's just, it's just so good.
Yeah, it was a really good movie. I hope they'll do more. I mean, do you think they'll do more?
I think that's it. Yeah, it's one of those things.
That sucks.
Real quick, because I know we're coming to the end here, but I did want to bring up one more cartoon that did come out that is kind of the blast from the past.
What is it?
They did, much like they did Invader Zim, Nickelodeon also let Netflix do a Rocko's Modern Life.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Way.
I haven't seen that.
But
I used to watch a lot of Rocko.
So is where Invader Zim I felt was really well done and crafted to fit into the universe. Rocko's Modern, it felt like a movie. It felt like a movie, and it was coherent in one. Rocko's Modern Life just felt like a really long episode. It kind of made me sad.
That seems like a weird choice to me.
I love Rocko's Modern Life, though.
I caught like an episode or two growing up. I didn't have.
See, I watched a lot of Rocko's Modern Life too. It was around the time that was like the follow up to Ren and Stimpy. There was Ren and Stimpy when I was like 6 and 7 and 8, and after that came Rocko's Modern Life.
But that was only available on
Nickelodeon. Yeah,
and it was only on cable, right?
On cable,
cable
which
Nickelodeon.
I didn't have.
I remember. I was so young when I watched that, so I don't remember.
You were too
what
young
it was about.
for this. Yeah,
but I remember watching it as a kid, and I remember it was once the cable was gone, that was it.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to see it anymore.
Yeah, it's just about a wallaby and his friends, a cow and a turtle, and them just living in a town.
Yeah,
he worked at a comic book store.
Don't exclude the intro. The intro is done by the B-52s.
Oh, it is. Yes, it
which
is.
is awesome. Yeah, I know that much. Yeah. Rocko's Modern Life. Yeah.
It was a rock lobster.
Oh, gosh, I imagine I want to look it up now. The voice actor that does the main character, the Wallaby, I imagine he's done other stuff too.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know that show. I mean, I think I've seen a couple episodes when I was younger. Like it was just like a nonsensical kind of show, wasn't it?
That's very much what I like. I mean, Invader Zim is a nonsensical kind of show too.
But there's a plot to that.
There's this very loose plot of
Yeah.
hey, he's trying to take over the world, and this is the one kid who's going to stand in his way.
Yeah. Whereas Rocko's Modern Life was just kind of like his day-to-day kind of thing, right?
So at the end of Rocko's Modern Life, they get launched into space. And,
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
At the end of the series?
Mhm.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't even remember why, but the movie picks up from there, them trying to figure out a way to get back to Earth, and then the way they bring him back to Earth is just really like, you could have come up with something a little more inventive, but then if you did, it wouldn't be Rocko's Modern Life. And so that's where the problem is. And then they get back to Earth, and the whole point of the show is, if you've watched Rocko's Modern Life, they were obsessed with this television show within the show, which I love that there was a show within the show called The Fatheads. The Fatheads.
What? Really?
Yeah. And that was the name of the show that they watched. It was about these things that came out of some guy's ear. They were earwax things. And basically they had parking meters, and they would just whack each other in the head with them. And that was pretty much the premise of the show. It was a mother and father, and then they had a son later on. And that was the show. And basically the way it tied back into the show was the Fatheads were a representation of Rocko's neighbors, whose son, who was also, I want to say transvestite. I hope that's the right word for this. Is a transvestite in the show, in the thing, and that's why he fell apart because the parents couldn't accept it. Made this show to represent his love for them and just how he grew up in such a dysfunctional home, and that's the Fatheads.
Wow.
Yes, it's a little deep. The show can get a little deep sometimes.
That is a lot. Jeez.
Yeah.
Really quick, because okay, so I did look up. The reason why I looked up the voice actor for Rocko, because I knew it sounded familiar. He did Laszlo in Camp Laszlo.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. So I knew I had heard it before.
Yeah.
Really talented, actually. Yeah. I didn't know that he had done so much. He also does. I don't know. You guys watch Reno 911?
Yes.
He's Deputy James Garcia.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I never watched Reno 911.
He has such a good Australian accent there.
Yeah, I'm showing the guys a picture of him now. His name is Carlos Alazraqui. Yeah. Sorry, Carlos. I don't mean to butcher your last name there. But if you ever want to come join us on the show and come talk to us, we'll gladly have you on.
Well, now that I've said that the Rocko's Modern Life just felt like a long episode, and I didn't mean any disrespect by it.
Well, that's nothing on him.
I know. It just didn't feel like it was meant to be a movie. It felt like it could have just been slapped on at the end of the series more so, which is good in a way, I guess. But it also, I was expecting a little more. It was the plot was, like I said, Rocko and them come back to Earth, and they're like, hey, everything's changed. Everyone has like cell phones and Starbucks everywhere. They're trying to poke fun at modern society versus the 90s society versus now.
Because like that show ended
90s
late or early 90s, right?
Yeah, or mid 90s.
Mid 90s.
Yeah. And so they're just poking fun at. They've missed an entire generational change from VHS to streaming media on a telephone 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
And their show being canceled. So their whole purpose of the show is Rocko. The other two, Heifer and Filbert, are just like so overwhelmed.
Yeah, the cow and the turtle?
Yeah. Heifer and Filbert are so overwhelmed by society that they just eat into it. They're drinking coffee. Like, oh my God, a new phone came out. They slam, and Brazy slams on the floor to go get the other one. A new one comes out, like in front of the whole thing. So there's a lot of the current jokes that we see a lot, so they weren't very original in that case. But then Rocko's so obsessed with recapturing his past, which I collect old video games, so I guess I do the same thing, but in a different way, that he went to have the show funded and brought back, and then it's just this whole, it's basically a one-off adventure about how he gets the show back on the air, or tries to.
That's meta?
It kind of is.
That's meta.
And then at the end, it kind of also helps bring the family back together who had been dysfunctional. But it just didn't feel, I don't know. There was just something about it. It was just kind of when it ended, I was like, I still didn't feel conclusion. I felt like, well, so next week I'm getting another episode, right?
Yeah.
It didn't kind of like tie a bow on it to a degree where I could put it away for a while. It just brought back like, man, why is there not more of this?
Okay.
Instead of this being like, this is a one-off special, guys, to kind of help you, relive Rocko's modern life and then kind of put it away for a while, put it to bed and say, hey, cool. everything's kind of tied up and good, but it's just kind of just like back to the mundane of Rocko's modern life.
That's interesting because if I'm not mistaken, Invader Zim had an ending, right? It was just kind of like everybody just went back to the thing. It was closure.
Yeah,
there was closure.
It felt like closure.
Yeah, and at the end of
well, yeah, because at the end they just passed up Earth and everything like that. The Earth and Armada passed them up, and he just kind of felt like, what do I do? Yeah, what do I do? Back to the usual grind. Yeah.
And with Steven Universe too, I felt like at the end of the original series there was closure, and at the end of the movie there was closure.
Yeah. The Rocko's, to me at least, if you get a chance to watch Rocko's Modern Life, it's not even relatively long. I think it's only like 40 or 50 minutes too. It's not even as long as some of the other animated, but it didn't quite do it for me. It was enjoyable. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy it, but it just didn't quite get where I was hoping to get it.
And you said that's available on Netflix.
Netflix, yeah. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
All right.
One last thing I do want to bring up because speaking of Netflix, and this is totally different direction, but I don't think we talked about it last time. But have either of you seen The Irishman?
No, I actually
The Irishman on Netflix.
What is that?
Okay,
3-hour movie.
it's a 3.5 hour movie.
About
3.5
hour movie about Jimmy Hoffa.
Jimmy Hoffa?
You're so young. Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
Yeah, Jimmy
So don't worry
Hoffa.
about it.
Isn't he the wait? Give me a second. Let me try this.
Yeah.
Jimmy Hoffa, because that's the butt of the jokes about the missing person, right?
Yes.
Like the Simpsons. Like there's a Simpsons scene where the guy's running on the football field and he trips over a mound of dirt that's in the shape of a human body lying down. Because he was the union rights fighter, right?
Well, not the union rights. He was the leader of the Teamsters. He started unions, yes.
and
he disappeared.
He disappeared.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good, you do know who Jimmy Hoffa was, just as I do.
Yeah, better than me.
Yeah.
Right, I didn't
And
know.
so this is basically, The Irishman's not about Jimmy Hoffa, but it's about a gangster. It's based on true stories who was friends with Jimmy Hoffa in his life.
Wow.
And it's De Niro, Al Pacino,
Whoa, really?
and De Niro, Pacino, and Joe Pesci.
Whoa.
Yeah, they're bad.
And it's phenomenal. The story is good. It's long, though. Get ready if you're going to watch it. It's a day. It takes you, your day is gone. It's 3.5 hours. It's intense. It's gone. Never in the movie did I feel like it was slow or boring, but I remember after the movie ending, turning around and looking at the clock and being like, it's that time already.
Wow. But you got 3 powerhouse actors there. Yeah.
Pacino's phenomenal. De Niro's phenomenal. Pesci's great. They're all good equally. Personally, I loved Pacino the best, but I also enjoy Pacino as an actor.
In general or in this movie?
In general, Pacino in this movie, for me, because I have a bias towards Pacino, definitely Pacino. He was so good as Jimmy Hoffa.
Okay.
But it's just a really good movie. The weird thing is, though, because it's not weird, it's much like when we put makeup on people to make them older, they use computers to make them younger, so they didn't have to hire actors to teach them how to be Robert De Niro and Al Pacino and Joe Pesci. They just had them act their scenes with their emotion and then had computers de-age them. So you can tell it's there, but if it doesn't bother you, the acting is so good you get past it, but you do notice it at first. You're like, yeah, that's a computer face. You could just tell, obviously. But it was just really cool that they did this technology for this kind of serious movie to let you have De Niro being Robert De Niro as a 28-year-old out of the military without having, oh, hey, we got Zac Efron to play Robert De Niro here. Hey, Zac Efron.
Wow,
You
nice.
see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you get, because it can capture all the facial and the expressions and the tone of his voice and the way they deliver lines and their interactions together, it's a really fun Scorsese movie. If you like Scorsese movies and you like Scorsese gangster movies, right up your alley.
Didn't we talk about like some of those?
Sound like
some
Casino and
Casino, Goodfellas, Godfather. No, they weren't on the Godfather, were they?
No. That was Pacino and.
Is it only Casino and Goodfellas?
Well, Al Pacino's not in Casino.
Al Pacino is not in Casino.
Or Goodfellas.
Yes,
right?
he is.
Is he?
No, he's
No,
not.
he's
Oh
not.
no, he's not.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah, Robert De Niro
you know
and
what?
Joe
I
Pesci.
think I'm confusing him with Robert De Niro. Yeah.
Heat, Al Pacino. Scent of a Woman, Al Pacino.
Yeah.
The Godfather, 1, 2, and 3, Al Pacino.
Yeah.
Scarface.
Yeah.
Al Pacino.
Yeah, Scarface. Yeah.
Jack and Jill, Al Pacino.
Yeah.
Jack and Jill
Wow.
reference in there.
Good job.
Yeah, you're welcome for that one. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Heat. Al Pacino.
I said
and
Heat.
Robert De Niro.
Oh yeah, they're
Did
both
you?
in that
Yeah,
too.
both in
And
that.
Val Kilmer
Yeah, and
before he got fat.
In what movie?
Heat.
Have you ever seen Heat?
No, I don't
That's
think
actually
so.
one of my
Heat's
favorite movies
great.
of all time.
It's also filmed here in Los Angeles, filmed
could-
right in downtown LA. It's just great.
Oh, okay. I could have sworn you
Oh,
mentioned
by
that.
the way, we're in Los Angeles. If anyone wasn't aware of that, I think we've talked about that before.
So, who's not in Los Angeles? Everybody's in Los Angeles.
Whoa! Don't say that to a New Yorker. Hey, I'm walking here. I'm not in Los Angeles. That's my New York accent.
Oh, I see.
That's my California, New York accent. You're welcome.
Well, I was like,
And then Chicago. Hey, we're here watching the Bears game. No, you don't like the Chicago accent?
The Bulls.
You
the Bears.
You hang out with that guy from Chicago upstairs enough to hear this accent all the time.
There's this great line in Mystery Science Theater where, I forget what movie.
Mystery Science
I
Theater.
love Mystery Science Theater.
But it's not even like real Mystery Science Theater. It's Netflix.
It's
new
the
Mystery
reboot. It's the reboot. Yeah, with Jonah Heston. Which I wonder if that's his real name. I just know that's his name on the show.
Okay.
Yeah, where there's somebody on the screen and he has a mustache and Gypsy comes down and says he may be I'm butchering it. He may be his shirt may say Park Ranger, but his mustache says Chicago Police. There you go.
Chicago Police.
There you go. Thank you.
Hey, grab my bag from over there.
Yeah.
Chicago accents.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know where to go from there.
Watch The Irishman.
Yeah.
Huh?
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. That'll do it then. So all right. Let me say thank you to Nick. Thank you, Eddie, for joining us on this episode of Retro Lunch Break, the podcast, Wingin, episode 2. This has been great. So thank you so much. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
See you next time.
Retro Lunch Break.